And it was like Drum and Express were like the two big kind of things. So I'd always read what Jess Willoughby and the Express would write. Have the same thing. And I'm like, fuck, she's good. But then, yeah, well, this is a good friend now, obviously. So anyway, I got the cover. I'm interviewing Jethro Tull. And I need to do like 1,000 words or something plus all the photos, and it's going to look sick. And it's probably the biggest thing at the point. And so anyway, I've got this calling card and I went for the number. And at the last second, my phone rings and it's the PR agent. And she's like, I'm calling you to connect you up. And I'm like, okay, cool. I thought I had to make this call. So she's like, you don't talk about this. You're interviewing Ian Anderson, who's the flute guy in Jethro Tull and rock royalty. I'm putting you through now. Then I hear a ring. So she's patched it. And then he picks up, he's like, listen, I'm really busy right now. I'm in the middle of something. Oh, no. Call back in 5 minutes, right? And hangs up before I could be like, but Mr. Anderson, like, I don't have his fucking number, nothing. Like, I don't,
Welcome to Conversations with Nurses, a podcast where we chat with nurses from all walks of life. I'm Paula Holland. Join me as we explore the human side of healthcare and gain insight into the passion that drive nurses to care for others.
Got it. Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, so he's like, okay, I'll just go for the next right. He's like, I'm really busy. I'm in the middle of something. Call back in 5 minutes. And then bang, he hangs up the phone. And so I was like, fuck, I don't have your number or anything. Like I didn't have, this lady called me from like a private number. And so I had to like call back and call my editor and do all this shit to get all this and call.
You still had the card though, right?
It was like a calling card just to get like minutes to then call a number because it was like nearly impossible. It like, mortgage your house to call internationally back then. Yeah. And so I'm like, fuck. And the whole process took about 15 minutes, which was pretty intense, like 15 minutes to get that studio connected again. Then he picks up the phone and he's like, is this Simon? I said 5 minutes. It's been 15. And then bang, hangs up on me. It's this grumpy old, crusty old Englishman, right? So I was like, fuck. And unlike you, I did not want to own up that I'd done that. So I was like, what am I going to do? And it was like, 1,500 words or something, a massive article, front page cover. And so I went through all the interviews that I could find with him and it's cobbled together this narrative of things that he'd said, because I didn't want to like fictionally write it, but things that he'd said and then sort of constructed a narrative around that.
Yeah.
And didn't tell a soul. This is the first time I'm telling anyone. So if you Google my name and the music and Jethro Tull, find that article completely fabricated from like, but like it was that shitting yourself. You're like, I'm never going to work in this damn industry again. Like
that's literally how I felt after the open interview. I was like, I've just thrown that away. Off I go back into my cave where I came from. Like, it's all over.
It's all over. Yeah. So did you call him back or what have you?
So I called
have you got this?
I hope so. For now, it exists in my mind only.
Yeah.
It did happen. I promise it happened. But yeah, so I called the editor and, had a big chat about it and I was feeling pretty shitty about it for like days. And he said, look, don't worry, the PR guy is a good friend of mine. Like I organised some more time. He's come back and said, yes, so that's really lucky, Steph. And I'm like, oh, thank God. But I haven't heard yet anything.
So if anyone listening out there, if you're friends with Opeth, you got their number.
Steph says hi.
Shoot it to Steph. She can continue on and we can all read about this work that she's going to do.
It's not the end of the world if it doesn't happen. They're so busy and they're about to tour and all this stuff. I can totally understand if it doesn't happen. I get it, especially with international touring artists. They've got so much going on and so much happening. Doing interviews is kind of the last thing on their mind. I get it.
Have you seen Almost Famous?
Yes.
Is that like one of your hero movies?
When I was a kid, so when I was really young, I really wanted to do journalism. And I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to write for newspapers. And it's going to be this big, important thing. And then you grow up and then you're like, you just forget. I remember seeing that movie and being like, whoa, that's so cool. But also at the same time, then you grow up and you have friends who are musicians or whatever and you realize that they're just people like anyone else.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe that'd be nice one day, but we'll see.
What are your favorite movies? What do you do for inspiration?
I really love Jurassic Park. Love dinosaurs. Massive fan of dinosaurs.
Yeah.
The first movie, the rest kind of suck after that.
Yeah, agreed. I didn't even know there was like a 2 or 3.
I think there's like a 4 or 5 now. It's almost Fast and Furious level, it's just expanding outwards rapidly. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a crossover with Fast and the Furious.
Fast and the Furious, Jurassic Park.
Yeah, they're just driving through dinosaurs.
There's dinosaurs chasing them, yeah.
The dinosaurs in the car.
There's a pretty good There's a pretty good car race scene in Jurassic Park, actually. Yeah.
I really love Jeff Goldblum movies.
Yeah, so, he's got a cult following.
Have you seen The Fly?
Yeah.
Fantastic movie. Those really cheesy, corny 80s effects. I just love that stuff.
But what is it about Jeff Goldblum? Because he has like I've heard people say that before. They're like, I just love him. He's like my favourite.
I don't know what it is. It's just something about him, Obviously Jurassic Park's where I first saw him. But then everything I've seen him in since, he just seems like a decent dude. Like, he doesn't seem like an arsehole. From what I've read about him, he doesn't seem like an arsehole. I've never met him, but Jeff, if you're listening to this, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is about Jeff Goldblum, but I just think he's a fantastic actor, and he just really, every character he plays, he portrays just so beautifully and with like his entire soul kind of thing. And I just think that's really cool. Anyone putting their whole heart and soul and passion into something has my vote. So it's probably why I love music so much, because you see musicians on stage and they're just like practically dying doing what they're doing. But yeah, Jeff Goldblum, I really also like a lot of Adam Sandler movies, just the real corny, cheesy laugh ones.
Yeah.
They're just really nice to put on after a night out or whatever. And it's just like, you don't have to focus too hard. Just really funny, off the hand kind of jokes, like easy to watch sort of stuff. So.
And you're dealing with text all the time. Do you still find time for reading, or how does, do you?
Yeah, I love reading. I'm a huge fan of books. I've got lots of them. Audiobooks are great as well, but there's just something about physically picking up a book and flicking through the pages, that noise that it makes and also how it smells. It's just magic.
I think my books smell like Vegemite. It's like on toast or something, because it's always like a thumbprint here or there.
Half stuck to the smell. I have dropped a book in the bath, actually.
Still
Magic Room. Motley Crue's book, The Dirt, yeah.
Yeah.
Still good.
That's ironic that in a bath you drop the dirt in the spring.
It didn't get very clean. It kind of got a bit more
It got dirtier. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of what I've been reading at the moment. But doing a law degree as well, when I first started that, my lecturer turned around and was like, oh, who likes to read? And I put my hand up because I love reading. And he's like, okay, here you read for, what did he say? You used to read for pleasure, now read for purpose. But he meant pain, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. So I've just kind of put my law degree on hold really recently, actually. So now I'm sort of like picking up books again and like doing little things like that I like to do that I just didn't have time.
Uni does actually put a big hole in your reading, like for pleasure. It is, it's hectic. What was the aspiration with doing a law, and why did you stop that?
So I had my daughter quite young. So I had her when I was 20 and she's turning 15 soon. And I just sort of had my whole life just kind of looking after her. And then when she was old enough, I was like, oh, I really want to go back to uni and do something that's going to help people. So I actually enrolled in psychology and HR double degree. And then because there's some like, I guess, legalish kind of units in the HR part of it, I was just getting really good marks in that side of it. So I thought, oh, maybe I should just switch to psychology and law instead. And so I did that. And I really admire like the humanitarian lawyers that sort of want to go out there and change the world and help people. And I think that I've sort of had enough friends go through a lot of shit where I've kind of been able to help them when they're like, I don't know what to do, and they're just a mess, legal process.
Go to this gig.
Absolutely. Come to the gig with me. Let's go.
Yeah.
But also like I found a lot of passion in law because it makes a lot of sense. It's a logical process that you follow. Like what's the law? Apply the law to the situation. That's the outcome. Well, that's usually the outcome. Depends on the judge. So I think that like I'd really love to be able to help people that aren't able to help themselves and sort of give people a voice that don't have a voice. And I think that's kind of ties into the writing for the reviews and stuff as well, like being able to tell people about stuff that might not know about it or be able to experience it or something.
And what is the best gig that you've seen in recent history, do you think?
I mean, I went to Parkway Drive, so that was pretty epic. I'd say that in terms of like stage performance, that was phenomenal, like mind-blowing. Like there was flames shooting out of the catwalk, which was raised above, not just out of the catwalk, but like out of the front and the sides and underneath it, while flames were shooting up from the stage and like sideways from the back. It was just insane. And a rotating drum cage as well, which is really cool. Yeah, anyone that wants to do that stuff is like, oh my God, it looks impressive and it is impressive, and I was impressed. In terms of, I don't know, I've been to so many gigs over the last 12 months. Ash Grunwald was my first gig I ever reviewed. And I think that one, not just because it's the first, but it definitely has a special place in my heart just because of the style of music and how he plays and how much passion you put into it. And I just really thought that was wicked. In terms of local bands, like the Storm Rider Festival was fantastic. That was 2 nights at Amplifier, and I was just blown away by every single band I saw. I stood there like my mouth open going, oh my God, like my friend was next to me. I was like, oh my God, like the whole time sort of thing. Yeah, I'm just blown away by the amount of talent that's in Perth as well. I think it's hard to really pick one one gig.
Have you seen Arizona Bayswater play the Tool gigs?
No, but I've wanted to, and I was going to go to that show recently, but I was really sick, so I couldn't
the
go.
Frio one?
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Good.
Oh my God. That's like such a good combination of this. Like, and we've had Mikey on this show actually, so I don't want to say like I'm Arizona Bayswater fanboy. I'm not. Like, I'm completely impartial to any of this, but like just to stand there and cop an hour of music of that quality, like right up close,
awesome.
It's probably one of the coolest things. Yeah.
That's pretty much what I'm like at every gig.
Is it? Yeah.
I mean, I know that sounds so blasé, and like Steph probably says that at all the gigs, but it's because I guess I can appreciate how much work goes into getting from, you know, off the stage to on the stage and playing the music in front of you, and also just this like the dedication and time that it takes to not only learn the instrument but learn those songs as well.
I've heard a lot of musicians say that they feed off the crowd, you know, or you can feel your energy and something. And that, I got to tell you, that is 100% true, because when you're seeing a musician enjoy it, they're usually enjoying you enjoying it. And so you can see, you know, you can at least see the first 4 or 5 rows of people. And like, we road test a lot of new songs before we record them, because we want you to come to our shows and see stuff that you haven't heard before. I remember like you plan out a song, how I want it to go, and this is going to lead into this, and it's going to be a bit of a dip before a crescendo and then break into 4/4 or something. And the coolest thing is when you're reading the crowd and you're seeing some dude nodding, you're like, this bit, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, because I love that bit. That's why I wrote it, right? And so you're like, bang, bang, bang. And then you see him go to the next bit and he's like, yes, he's doing that like face, and he's like, holy shit. And then you go, if in your head you're like, you know it's coming, so you're like, oh, if you like that, you're gonna love this bit, you know. And then hit him with that. Or do we lose him in a bit, or was that too much of an acoustic guitar solo and they all fade and when it got a beer? Like, you know, you can really hone your craft, but a lot of it comes from the crowd, fans first.
Absolutely. And as a person in the crowd, it's really awesome seeing the people on stage have a good time, because if they're having a good time, you're probably having a good time. But if they're standing there on stage and they're just playing their instruments with a dull look on their face, like they don't want to be there, that's kind of going to make me not want to be there as well. And I'm going to be like, why are they doing that? You know?
Yeah.
Like, but if you're loving it and you're moving around, or like you're just really into it, like that's wicked. And that's probably what everyone's going to be feeding off of.
Fantastic. Now, if people want to read your work and interact, where's the best place to catch up and read your output? So
most of my work's on therockpit.net. And then I've also got some stuff on Serial, which is on Facebook, Serial Music Magazine. But therockpit.net's probably the best place to catch me. That's where most of it happens.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for coming on the show. Thank you for listening to the Stories Within Stories podcast. We hope you've enjoyed this show. For more stories like this, head to barefootmedia.co.